I didn't see Shen Lingling for quite some time after that. She became completely nocturnal, sealing off every window in the house. The curtains were pulled so tight, not a trace of light could get in. All of this I had expected. I let her be, even helped her cook meals and left them at her door. Judging by the leftovers by the door, she was still breathing. That was enough to put me at ease. Half a month later, I finally saw Shen Lingling during the day. She was now skin and bones, face twisted and grotesque. When she saw me come home, she lunged at me like a starving ghost. Wu Jing, what do I do? All my money is gone. I made the pen fairy angry. She took the money she gave me back. I looked at her coldly and flung her off me, rubbing my arm where she'd clawed it red. I asked, "Speak clearly, what happened?" Shen Lingling began to stammer her way through what she'd experienced over the past months. After she took the booklet, she started studying it, initially with a skeptical, try-it-and-see attitude. At first, nothing happened, and she didn't care much. Then she tried every single spiritual summoning method listed in the book, until one night, she played the pen fairy game. Nothing strange happened then either, and thinking it had failed again, Shen Lingling tossed everything aside and went to bed. But the next morning, she discovered two large, inexplicable deposits in her bank account. After crunching the numbers, there was only one explanation: the pen fairy had sent her money. Shen Lingling was ecstatic. That very night, she summoned the pen fairy again. Sure enough, by the next morning, another deposit had appeared in her account. In just 2 nights, Shen Lingling, who had been drowning in debt, suddenly had nearly 100,000 yuan in savings. She became utterly convinced of this supernatural power. Over the next few nights, she summoned the pen fairy several more times. Though the amounts were smaller, there were still sporadic transfers of a few thousand yuan. Completely addicted, she began obsessively studying the booklet and trying every method in it over and over. But then, something went wrong one night. All the money in her account vanished. Then came a call from the bank. They told her the earlier transfers were due to a clerical error and had now been reversed. That was when Shen Lingling truly lost her mind. She refused to believe any of it was a mistake. She was convinced it was because she had summoned too many other spirits and offended the pen fairy. And now, here she was, looking feral, weeping and asking me how to fix it. I stared at her coldly. I didn't bother questioning whether the pen fairy was real. Instead, I crouched down and grabbed her by the throat. So thin, just the slightest pressure and that fragile neck would snap. But when in life do things go the way you want? I told her bluntly, "It's no use, you messed up, the pen fairy isn't coming back." That one sentence shattered Shen Lingling completely. She began clawing at her own face, her arms. With her long neglected, grime-caked fingernails, she dug into her own flesh, one gouge at a time. What a delightful sight it was! Exhausted from her outburst, Shen Lingling curled up in a corner of the wreckage, trembling non-stop and mumbling apologies. I let out a cold, mocking laugh. You feel guilt toward something as vague and elusive as that. But when it comes to real, living beings, you have not a shred of human decency. I walked up to her and looked down from above, giving her a light kick. She raised her head in a daze, eyes vacant and lifeless, looking like she'd completely lost her mind. Satisfied, I smiled and said, "Shen Lingling, you know, even without the pen fairy, there are other options. Have you forgotten I once mentioned to you Kumansong, Kumansong?" She muttered the name twice, and the light returned to her eyes. She suddenly threw herself at my feet, clutching my calf in a pitiful, desperate plea. "Yes, Kuman-san, you said it was the most effective. Please, tell me, how do I summon one? I smiled, my voice ghostly and laced with malice, drawing her step by step into the abyss. The corpse of a little boy. Bring it to me, and I'll make the Kuman-san for you. That's all it takes. A boy's corpse, a corpse. I'll dig one up. I know where to find it. Just wait for me. And with that, Shen Lingling stumbled out the door and ran off. I calmly picked up the backpack I had already prepared and followed her silently. There was no need to hide. She was already half mad, her mind consumed by the thought of her precious Kuman-san. She didn't even notice someone was tailing her. She bought the next available train ticket and began her journey back to her hometown. Kingxin Village, a name that sounded like a curse, was where Shen Lingling was born. After a long and bumpy trip, she arrived at the remote mountain village hidden deep in the hills. She didn't go home. Instead, she immediately slipped into the dense forest behind the village. By the time the sky was darkening, she stopped before a small, overgrown grave and began to dig frantically. I hid behind an old tree, watching her twisted, crazed, repulsive expression with perfect clarity. Who would we thought, she muttered, panting, that this bastard I killed 5 years ago would still be of use today. Child, just wait. I'm going to take you somewhere nice. I'll offer you up properly. From now on, you must help me get everything I want. Every word she mumbled was like 1,000 blades stabbing into my flesh. Finally, when she dug up the object wrapped in black cloth, I smiled. Child, you must bless me, make everything go exactly as planned.